let us discuss the meta, and by extension, 40k, because truly they are one and the same thing now. In editions gone by, sure, you could say that competitive 40k was separate to casual 40k, but I don't think that is the case anymore. Competitive 40k is 40k, and it is now the exception to play outside of what I would describe as matched play, and what GW would describe as matched play as well. Now, there's been a lot of chit and, dare I say, chat around the proverbial water cooler this week, and especially today, because there has been some additional win rates that have come out, some additional data that has hit the community via Meta Monday. So if I just bring up Meta Monday, now you guys can have a look. I'm not going to go through it line by line, but we are going to have a quick look at latest bits and bobs. Let me have a look here. This is the Meta Monday website. It covers week by week the win rates of certain factions as they come out and provides a little bit of context. Now, a couple of weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, when the Emperor's Children were released, they hit the ground running with a 50, I think it was like a 56 or 67% win rate. It was very, 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 very high. And I said that Emperor's Children were going to be broken, and it turns out that Emperor's Children are very, very strong and are quite broken. And then this week we had the first big results from Death Guard. So there were 1,475 players this week, which is this weekend. Just this weekend, over the, what was it be, the 24th and 25th, 1,475 players were registered at playing tournaments, which is huge. That's the biggest weekend I think we've ever had. It was the largest non-LVO weekend, which is huge. Death Guard were by far the most played faction with 124 players. Now, let's just put that into context for a moment. Death Guard were basically, this weekend was the first tournament they could be used widespread, and they instantly jumped to being the most played faction. Not only that, but they hit the ground running and managed to achieve a 58% win rate. With, out of those 124 players, 33 people going X and 1, which means they lost no games or they lost one game. So if it was a GT, they went 4-1, or they went 5-0. If it was like a major, they went like 7-1, 5-1 or 6-0. You get the point. So a huge proportion, like 25% of the players that ran, they were the most played faction, and 25% of the players that ran them at most lost one game. And in their first weekend, they picked up 2 event wins. Now, surprisingly, this is not going to be a moaning about Death Guard section of the stream. Focusing on Death Guard for a moment, one of the things that's got people very, very concerned about them is the fact that Death Guard are broken. So why am I acting so calm about it? Is it because I have probably about 5,000 points worth of Death Guard? Maybe. The reality of the situation is that we just need to maybe it's the holiday talking. Maybe it's the fact that I'm just relaxed. Maybe it's because I haven't played 40k in 2 weeks, and so I've kind of forgotten how horrendous it can be. I'm actually excited to play 40k again. I suspect, joking aside, I was a little bit burned out. Taking 2 weeks away has reinvigorated me greatly. But the reality of the situation is that I'm just not surprised by Death Guard being broken. I'm not surprised that World Eater's just a shit. I'm not surprised that every codex that's been released over the last 5 months has either been DOA or has been Diamond Hands to the fucking moon, because it's exactly what I expected to happen. I don't mean to repeat myself. I don't mean to again wank myself off and blow my own trumpet. But gentlemen, I said this was going to happen.
This is a conspiracy. That's what this is. One big damn conspiracy!
It might even be the last 9 months, because you've got to think about it. Rumors are going to start circulating about 11th edition 3 or 4 months before it actually comes out. And it's just exactly, Smallhornet, it's just about that time of the edition. The last year of every edition of 40k, for over the course of 8th, 9th, and now 10th, once is an accident, twice is coincidence, 3 is a pattern. That's what I think Spriggs said in the chat earlier about me, that was about me being on time. In the last year of every edition of 40k, things go bonkers. Things go absolutely bonkers. They go off the fucking rails. GW uses the last year of an edition to experiment and try things out in time for the next edition. See Arcs of Omen with 9th edition, now it's 10th edition. But also they use it. GW is quite clever, and they know that when we get to this part of the cycle, people start getting a little bit burned out on 40k. They know that people start, their eyes start wandering. So what they do is they start releasing outrageous things. And they do this for 2 reasons. Like I said, firstly, they experiment a little bit. Like, okay, let's try, let's see if this works. And if it works, then if it does work, then we'll roll it into 11th edition. If it doesn't work, we might leave it by the wayside. Or they prepare the ground and they're like, okay, we're going to do this. And then people at first are outraged by it, but then they do it 2 or 3 times over the course of the last year. And then it comes to the next edition, people are like, oh, yeah, this is normal. It's how GW operates now. You know, a good example, again, looking at Arcs of Omen. I will use another example in a moment. But looking at Arcs of Omen, GW scrapped all force organization charts and detachments, and everyone went, this is crazy. But then by the time 10th edition came along, everyone just was used to it because they'd been playing that way for a year, and everyone quite liked it. If I was to use an example of what, so if you were to ask me, Mordian, what is GW experimenting with now? I think they're experimenting with free digital rules. There is rumors that in the next balanced data slate, there's going to be another free detachment. Ever since Grotmus, we have been getting like what feels like a free detachment. It feels like we must have, on average, if you spread them all out, it feels like we've had a free detachment every month. We're getting another one. Like, people are saying that someone said in the chat that maybe the balanced data slate is going to be coming out this week. That's crazy. I haven't even had time to play into the Custodes free detachment before this new one comes along. I'm not sure what free detachment they said it was. Maybe it was like a Tau one or something, maybe an Orc one, I'm not sure. But GW, it's not a coincidence that they keep dropping these free attachments for people to use. That's what I think they're getting people ready for. Your rules are going to be online now. That's what I think they're getting people ready for. It's not a rumor. They said that with every dataset, we'll get 3 attachments. There you go. We get a dataset every 3 months. Thank you, Qtup, for pointing that out. Every 3 months, we get a data slate. Every data slate comes with 3 new detachments. And it's like, so that's an average of 1 a month. Gentlemen, I called this. I said GW is going to be doing. I said they're going to go full digital rules. And I said that they are going to have these like seasonal detachments. And you mark my words. Someone clip this. And let's see how right or how wrong I am in 12 months' time. But I'm telling you, 11th edition, full digital rules. And your detachments are going to be, everyone's going to get 1 detachment at the beginning of the edition. And the codexes that you buy in 10th, 50-50, whether they make it into 11th. If I was a betting man, I would say they don't. My 9th edition codex didn't make it into 10th edition. I don't think my 10th edition codex is going to make it into 11th. Everyone's been saying ditch codexes, go full digital. GW, I think they're teeing that up. I think we're going to be going, seasons. I think we're going it would not surprise me if GW sold a season pass. All the rules, you can pay for each rule that comes out, or you can just have a season pass and you get all the detachments and stuff. Ask yourself now, would you be seeing the way things have been going in the last 6 months? Do you think that would be surprising? Wouldn't be surprising to me. So, what's GW experimenting with? What are they throwing at the wall to see what the community responds to and likes? No codexes, much more digital focused. Okay, that's not a bad thing. I actually support that. Here comes the second thing. As I said, they do all this mad stuff for 2 reasons. Firstly, they like to use the end of an edition to throw shit at the wall, see what sticks, and so they can take that into account when they are releasing the next edition. Here is the second one. They break the game on purpose so that at the beginning of 11th edition, beginning of the next edition,
reporting for duty,
they can do a whole bunch of Warhammer community articles where they say, we've listened to your feedback. We understand that you guys don't like. I mean, if you're a Longbeard, raise your hands if these words sound familiar. We've taken on board your feedback. We've heard that you don't like having loads of books and that the game is too bloated. So, beginning of 11th edition, we are going to simplify things. 1 codex is all you're going to need. 1 rulebook is all you're going to need. No more supplements. Just streamlining it, simplifying it. Exactly, Sprigs. Exactly. They break the game to a point where people are so sick and tired of the old edition that people welcome the new slot with open arms. Exactly. They dangle the hope in front of you. Because they know that a new edition, most people will leave a game. And even if GW makes a whole bunch of improvements within the edition, a lot of people will go, nah, I'm done. But you know what tempts people back? Every single time. A new edition. Every single time that GW drops a new edition, I would say 50% of the new 50% of the people that come into the game with new edition, 50% of them will be brand new players. The other 50% will be people returning to the game because they've heard that GW has fixed things and that they really have fixed them this time. We saw it from 7th to 8th edition. That was the first time I think GW, that's the only time I think GW has been sincere about it, because they almost bankrupted themselves over 7th edition. So they did this whole, like, we're going to be sincere, we're going to be proper. 8th edition, we've heard your concerns. And they saw how many people gave them that second chance. And I think now, what started out as good intentions has actually been, in a sick and twisted way, has actually now become part of the corporate fucking strategy. Think about it. If you were in the game around 6th, 7th, and 8th edition time, you will know how badly GW fucked the game up. Like, it was so unbelievably balked. They nearly went bankrupt. They didn't, at the end of the last year of, like, 7th edition, GW basically made a loss. They cooked the books as much as they could. They did every accountancy trick they possibly could do, and the profit that they were able to record was like, it was something like £10,000. It was nothing for a corporation the size of GW. That's basically a loss if you get rid of all the number fiddling. And so they went to the community and went, we fucked up, we're sorry, we're going to fix it. And 8th edition, they did fix it. But I think the people who had good intentions did that sincerely. But I think the suits, the corporate fucking suits, saw how that worked and went, hey, you know what? Why don't we purposely fuck the game up next time and then sell them hope? That's my theory. That's my theory. I think that 11th edition is going to make some grand promises. I think 11th edition is going to start off talking about how they're going to reduce the number of rerolls in the game. We're going to simplify the game. We're going to, you only need, we're going to have all these free rules. They're going to give you what you asked for. So the reason I'm mentioning all of this, 10th edition has broken. Okay, right now, 10th edition is broken. It's not necessarily unbalanced. Don't get me wrong. It's not necessarily unbalanced. Although, if I look at Meta Monday data right now, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 factions. Out of about 25 factions, 9 of them have got a greater than 50% win rate. And we've got 3 of them which are well above a 50% win rate. So, I would say and then we've got multiple factions. We've got 1, 2, 3 factions that are actually in a sub 40% win rate, with 30% win rate faction. So I think I actually would say, I think that they have, I think the balance has gone to shit. I've been saying for a long time that 10th edition is the most balanced edition. I think it is starting to wobble. Truthfully, I think it's starting to wobble. I think it is starting to creak and crack and break. I think that is actually happening. But I think that it's by design. And so a lot of people have been asking me recently, and let me tell you, I'm gonna call it right now, okay? I'm calling it right now. Over the next 12 months, you are going to see every Warhammer content creator, every Warhammer 40k content creator produce the same video. And that video is going to be, is 10th edition broken / can 11th edition fix Warhammer 40k? I'm telling you, everyone's going to do it. I'm going to fucking do it. I'm going to get that bag, baby. I'm telling you, everyone's going to do it. And do you want to know the crazy answer? Here's the thing. All right? Because let me tell you, right? This is going to sound kind of arrogant. It's going to sound kind of fucked up. But I am the only YouTuber, the only Warhammer YouTuber that will tell you the truth. I'll tell you how it is. I'll tell you if it's right. I'll tell you if it's fucking wrong. But I'll tell you how it is. All right? I'm going to say something which a lot of other people, they'll say something similar, but they'll say it for the wrong reasons. All right? A lot of you are going to expect me to say 11th edition won't fix 40k. 10th edition is broken. 11th edition won't fix it. That's wrong. Again, I'm happy to be proven wrong on this. But I absolutely 100% have faith and believe that GW will correct the ship with 11th edition. Because they will break it by design, but they will fix it by design. It's all part of the strategy. It's all part of the market strategy. So many people out there think that GW is stupid. Oh, why does GW do this? Why does GW do this? They ain't fucking stupid, boys. I used to think they were stupid. I used to say GW is successful in spite of themselves. No. I see through the lies of the Jedi now. I don't even see the Matrix anymore. I just see blonde, brunette, redhead. Like, I don't even see the Matrix anymore. They break the game so they can fix the game. So will 11th edition fix all of your complaints that you're having about the game right now? Of course it will. Of course it will. Because it's all part of the grand plan. It's all part... Why do you think they have a 3-year cycle? We all just assume that a 3-year cycle is like normal and natural and the way it should be. No. The first year delivers hope. The second year delivers, well, consolidates the position. The third year breaks the game, gets everyone, constantly creates chatter. This is broken, that is broken, this is broken, that is broken. Keeps people engaged with all the fucking mad shit that's going on. And just as everyone's about to get burned out and fucks off 40k, 11th edition, the next edition drops. And everyone goes, oh, thank God. And there are less rerolls. Because aside from Oath of Moment, there weren't that many rerolls at the beginning of 10th edition. Go back and look at the beginning videos that I put out about 10th edition. I was super hyped for it. I was like, they fixed all the problems. This is a good game. It's a good game. Go and look at all of like the arena battles and stuff that I was doing with Tom. Go and look at all that shit. So you guys want hope? I'll give you fucking hope. 11th edition will fix it.
You heard me?
And 11th edition will break it again. Now the big question is, how long can they get away with it for? Because people are already kind of noticing this. People, it's Small Hornet, and so hope is reborn, and the story begins again. Exactly. That's it. So the big question is, how can they keep this? How long can they keep this going before people see through the bullshit? And the big question is, even if people do see through the bullshit, as a lot of people are doing now, does it matter, or do people just accept it? Is there a certain level of it's okay to be jaded? Atman and Glory. Steve Reisman, Atman and Glory, that's why they're releasing Horse Heresy. Yeah. See, Steve, you're a beautiful son of a gun. You're a beautiful son of a bitch. Because that's the final piece of the puzzle, isn't it? That's the final fucking piece of the puzzle. You see, this is the one thing that GW has struggled with till now. Previously, when people started getting sick of 40k, okay, traditionally, when people have started getting sick of 40k, they have jumped out of the game knowing that they'll come back at some point, but they need that palate cleanser, right? They know that. But the problem that GW has had is that people have jumped out of the GW bubble. They've jumped... And traditionally, they've jumped over to things like Warlord Games and Bolt Action. That's where they've jumped out. And the problem is that when people jump out of the GW bubble, there's a risk, and I've seen it happen many, many times. They leave the GW bubble, and then many of them come back, but a not insignificant amount of people go, I kind of like my new bubble. GW can't have that. They can't have that. They need you to stay in the bubble without you realizing you're staying in the bubble. This is it. Much like when Agent Smith is describing the Matrix. The first Matrix was a paradise. It was awful. We lost whole crops. This is it. if you leave the Matrix, no matter how much you, unless you siphon, no matter how much you want to get plugged back in, some people will be like, no, I'm not going back in. So now, when you leave, when you get sick of 40k, look at all these other options you've got. You might not want to go and play Kill Team. It's too small scale. You want to play a proper battle game. You might not want to go and play Necromunda. You can't be fucked around with having a Necromunda gang. But I could play Old World. I could play Old World. Hey, isn't it funny that all the Old World models are a bit cheaper than 40k models? Is that because SDS is a nice group of people? Maybe. Or maybe it's because GW knows that people don't want to spend as much on their side hoe. So they're like, well, if we make a cheaper alternative to 40k that people can palette cleanse on, then all that money stays within the GW bubble rather than going to Bolt Action, which is a cheaper alternative. Same with Heresy. You think it's a coincidence you can buy fucking 10 Intercessors for 40, 50 quid or 20 Tactical Marines for 40, 50 quid? All part of it. It's all part. They're controlling you. There's chips in your head. It's like that scene in Doctor Who when everyone's got the earbuds in and they download the updates into your brain. That's what's happening. Brothers, wake up. Joking aside, I think that is a little bit conspiracy theory-esque. I think it is. And I definitely don't want you guys taking me too seriously. But I would also say there probably is a grain of truth to it. I think it makes sense why GW is releasing Horus Heresy, right? You know, being serious for a moment, it does make sense why GW is releasing Heresy right now. There's two reasons why. Firstly, I think there is that element of they know people are getting burned out from 40k. I mean, look at me. 2 weeks ago, I was like, fuck 40k, I'm going to go and play Heresy. And at the perfect moment, oh, look, here's a new edition for me to enjoy. You know, maybe I'm putting correlation, maybe, who knows. But I don't think it's a coincidence that I've been producing, I don't think it's a coincidence that I've been getting burned out and GW is presenting this cool alternative to me. And I don't think it's a coincidence that a lot of, you know, when we've been doing these live streams I think are quite a good litmus test, are quite a good way of putting your finger on the pulse of how the general 40k community is feeling. And, you know, I think, you know, we get, as for every super chat we get about Warhammer 40k, we get a super chat about Bolt Action, about Old World, about Horus Heresy. For every person we have talking about 40k, one of these, you know, these other games get brought up as well. You know, people, I think there's definitely a sense of people are getting a bit burned out from 40k, and rather than them going over to Bot Action, it makes sense for GW to go, no, hang on, before you go and check that game out, what if we present you a new Heresy? I think there definitely is a grain of truth there. However, I also think there is another element to it, whereas GW wants to drop a new game and not have it be subsumed, overshadowed by another game coming out. So if we look at, for example, if they released Horus Heresy at the same time as they released a new edition of 40k, the Horus Heresy edition would do much, much worse because it would get overshadowed, and people only have so much hobby money they're willing to spend each month. And if they see a new edition of 40k, a new edition of Heresy at the same time, the people that probably would have got Heresy pilled will end up, I think, sticking with 40k. And I think GW knows. Here's the big thing. I think Games Workshop knows that people always end up coming back to 40k. How many people here played 40k in a previous edition and then came back? I'd say if it's 80%, I wouldn't be surprised. Even if you played 9th edition, gave it up for 6 months and came back with 10th edition. Even if you, you know, some people come back from 3rd edition, some people come back from 9th edition, but so many people, you have so many people that pick 40k up again from either when they were a kid or just from a couple of years ago. People always come back to 40k because it's an amazing IP, it's an amazing universe, and it's so good to get immersed in. It's awesome. So I think GW knows that they can get people to spend their hobby money on a side game like Heresy, and then know that 12 months later they can get those people to come back to 40k. Yeah. For sure, man. 80% might be a bit high, but realistically, I think 40 to 50% of people are returning players, and 50% of people are brand new players to an edition. I said that earlier. I think it's 50-50. I think an example of GW having a case of a game getting overshadowed is when they released Legions Imperialis at the same time as Old World. I don't think they expected Old World to be as big as it was, and hence why they were like, fuck it, we'll do these two releases at the same time. I don't think we'll ever see them I don't think we'll see them make that mistake again. GW is very clever, but they're not infallible. I think they thought Old World was going to be a bit of a side project, and I don't think 2 years ago or a year ago when Old World came out about 18 months ago, I don't think they expected to be releasing Cathay 18 months ago. No way. So, bringing all of this together, 40k right now is broken. There's a reason why we are getting codexes of extremes. We're getting codexes which are absolutely dog shit. We're getting codexes which are absolutely broken. Because each time they release one of these things, that's broken one way or another, positive and negative, I think it creates a lot of chatter. People will talk and make video. Remember, everyone, even if you're shitting on GW, if you're making a video or watching a video or talking about 40k in some capacity online, you're contributing to the chatter which keeps 40k at the forefront of tabletop wargaming. There's a reason that GW doesn't mind us complaining about their game, because it's all contributes to headlines, videos, content, all contributes to keeping them front and center. So they release something that's broken, everyone goes, oh my god, this is so broken, and we all talk about it. And then they release something which is utterly dog shit, and everyone goes, oh my god, and people talk about it. And they know that they can release something that's broken and then they can fix it a few balance patches later, and everyone will go, oh, thank you, GW, for fixing the thing. So I think there's definitely an element of that. It keeps the chatter going. They break the game on purpose so that they can not only try things out for the next edition, but also so that they can, when the next edition comes along, deliver hope. And I think that GW is very clever when it comes to keeping people inside the GW bubble. I think there's a reason why games like Old World and Heresy get released at the times that they do, because it means that even if you're getting burned out on 40k, you don't end up leaving the GW bubble, and you keep giving them your hobby dollars or hobby bucks or hobby pounds, whatever it is, because they know that in 12 months' time they'll get you back with the new edition of 40k. That is how an RBMK reactor explodes. What do we think? Am I mad? Is this all a conspiracy theory? Have I become one with the foil? Or does it sound just plausible enough? To add one more bit onto my conspiracy theory, I think that AOS was meant to be part of this, hence why they kind of they really 40k-ified it, and hence why often AOS and 40k are very, very similar. The only real big thing between them is the fix to wound and the double turn. But I think that AOS didn't grab people enough. Yeah, that's my thought on that. I think AOS is meant to be the thing that keeps us in the GW bubble, but it didn't work. Hence why Heresy and Old World came around. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and Patreons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full-time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Alex Dengal, Bon Vert, Lord Pryor, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, Try Again Bragg, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Barney. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.